or a spectrum regulator. They chose Mohale Ralebitso, a marketer, entrepreneur, boardroom veteran, whose career has taken him from the corridors of Old Mutual and ABSA to creative agencies of South Africa's advertising industry and eventually to co-founding his own investment firm. His background is anything but linear. He holds a bachelor's degree in political science, trained at Harvard Business School and at the Wits Business School Senior Executive Program, and built a career that spans over 22 years across a financial services, marketing, communications, and entrepreneurship. As the CEO of Black Business Council, he operated at the intersection of business and public policy. As a co-founder of Ralco Investment and Bison Capital, he backed entrepreneurs and middle market businesses. As chairman of FCB South Africa, Vanderman Thompson South Africa, and the Jupiter Drawing Room, he led some of the continent's most prominent creative organizations. He arrives in Mohale FM Studios' hot seat as the man at the helm of Lesotho's largest telecommunication company, Vodacom Lesotho, 5 years into a mandate to turn the ship around and build a more connected mountain kingdom.
My words.
Hello,
Welcome to Mohale FM.
Thank you for having me. I was quite enjoying listening to you. So you do all the talking.
Is he even human, sir? Are you sure you're human?
Very much human.
That is all you.
Flesh and blood.
My goodness.
What a feat.
Big up to you, honestly.
I've
High
been around
five.
for a while.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done to you. So obviously we went to the University of Google to extrapolate a well summed up description of who you are. But at Mohale FM we do
Can I
things.
take off my clothes?
Yes.
Okay.
Your coat, your jacket, not your clothes. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening at home, we're permitting him to only take off
His
his pullover. Okay.
His jacket.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So I was saying that obviously we took all of this from somewhere where it's nicely curated, but we'd love to hear in your own words, Mohale Ralebitso, Naikema, CEO of Vodacom Lesotho.
Well, man on a mission, and the mission is simple, which is to try and leave the world a slightly better place than I found it. And this follows on from the dedication that my parents gave to myself and my siblings, indeed to the entire community, to play their part wherever they are. And therefore we've followed in those beautiful footsteps. And I'm also trying to make sure that for my two boys, I leave them a world that I would want to receive and which they will want to live in and make better. Injured people produce bad outcomes, and therefore I'm particularly keen to cause as little injury as is possible and hopefully leave one or two things that they can follow. I have nieces, nephews, all sorts. So for the longest time now, one of the things that I've had the privilege of being is a parent, whether immediate or by extension, and therefore it is a central lens that I use to decide what I do and what I don't do. And as for this particular role, being CEO of Lesotho, Vodacom Lesotho, which, as you know, encompasses the mobile telephony and technology business, as well as the financial services business, I think of it as being more of a calling than just a job. I've had some pretty amazing jobs, but this particular one is right up there in terms of allowing me to make a tangible difference in literally millions of people's lives, and to ensure that we are connected not only to the globe, but more and more to one another, which is, I suppose, where the story starts.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you.
Now, listening to your professional journey, reading about it, and 22 years in the industry, that is a lot. What have been some of the key important moments from your professional journey that you've brought onto your appointment as CEO of Vodacom Lesotho?
Okay. Curiosity and learning, because for the front part of my journey was in academia. I worked with the Ford Foundation in the US in the last 2 years of my studies. I don't understand why we still have 3-year degrees. So in the US, as you know, they combine the first degree and the honors, which gives you time to actually not just be introduced to concepts, but to be able to apply them. So for me, the application aspect was doing research with the Ford Foundation, which was published. And beyond that, then going to UCT, I'm a dropout. I was studying for my master's degree at UCT, and I never submitted my thesis.
Hey.
And part of that was just going into the business world, and you get so busy, and too busy at that. And I suppose this was the critical moment, at least for me in my journey, which is breaking from studying the world to being an active participant in shaping what happens. What that does give you, though, coming from an academic background, is the ability to do structured inquiry and to study things, how systems work, and being able to, therefore, when you're going to reorganize them, to be intentional about it.
Yeah.
True.
So I've always kept that lens about me that we should not only just run our business or businesses and indeed everything that we do, but to study, reflect, and think and look beyond the apex so that we don't do something today which in 5-10 years time is like, if only we thought a little bit harder about what this means, not just for customers immediately, but for the society. We exist as a business because the society gives us permission to. Yes, we are licensed in both dimensions of the Vodacom business, but first and foremost, that license is granted by our customers every day in approving or in some instances disapproving of what we do. Our job is to make sure that on the balance of things, more often than not, we are supportive and enable our customers to live their lives. And even to those people who are not our customers, we are concerned about what they think and feel and ensuring that we enable them, because some of the societal interventions that we do, whether it be education, health, GBV, you name it, we don't do a distinction between who's a customer and who's not. It's interventions that we do in partnership with other stakeholders to build a better society.
Beautiful.
Goodness.
Absolutely beautiful.
Love, love, love. All right. So the constitution of Vodacom Lesotho, is it rooted in principles that you aligned with right away, or did you have to shake things up a bit so that your integral self matches nicely with what Vodacom is purported to do?
I was fortunate in that I had a choice in joining Vodacom Lesotho. And one of the things all of us shouldn't do is to waste that when you're engaging with any organization about whether you want to be a part of it or not. Do that basic check to say, this is what I'm about as a person. This is what this company is about. Because fortunately nowadays the companies will tell you. And when I looked at a company that is purpose-driven, that says it wants to connect for a better future and puts technology at the heart of that intent rather than the technology driving what does and doesn't happen, it enables. And so from the start, there's always been alignment for me. And so when I opened my big mouth back then to say that I think I can assist with some of the challenges that the business is facing in Lesotho, it was a no-brainer that, and I felt I still had a debt to pay to Lesotho. Hopefully I've paid it, and Basotho in general, because let me be clear, I'm not a nationalistic or tribalistic, but my lens is very much one of as a people, and when I say as a people, I'm not talking about the 2-point-some odd million, I'm talking about the totality of those people. And without wanting to be political and engage in the territory issues, the fact of the matter is that at an identity level, that's what I am, and that's what connects me to Africa at large as a Mosotho. Yes, with some ingredients from elsewhere, but fundamentally that. And that is something which this place is, for better or worse, and I think it's for better, is a base for Basotho. And we must always think beyond the 2.2 to saying, what does this mean for the collective? And what does it mean for the ingredient parts that the Basotho are made of, which is much larger than the 7-point-some odd million.
Oh, wow. All right. So I want to know, 5 years later at the helm of Vodacom Lesotho, what achievement are you most proud of? And also, if you could go back in time and revisit a certain decision, what would it be?
I'm most proud of the fact that because it goes unseen. Remember that by the time our shareholders get their money, our people get it first. When I look at the journeys that all my colleagues have been through, their accomplishments, and I have the benefit of seeing the numbers. Literally between the time that I've been around and now, what if I told you that we've probably paid over 1 billion maluti in salaries?
I'd say, what?
I wouldn't believe it.
Really?
Yes.
But
Our single largest cost other than the network is people. It's not what our shareholders get. Because remember, by the time our shareholders get, we pay taxes, we pay license fees, we've obviously started by paying salaries to look after our people, and we're a top employer for a reason, because we're a company that looks after our people well, and which also ensures that lifelong learning is something that is supported within the Vodafone university system, separate from taking people to outside courses to do their MBA and other specialist learnings as may be necessary for them to achieve their particular goals. So, and also inside of that, we consistently, on a formulaic basis, commit ourselves to a percentage of our revenues going to the Vodacom Foundation, which does good. And I've already explained that it doesn't target customers. It targets things that need attention in the country, aligned to government priorities, and of course, our own values and sense of what a better tomorrow is going to be enabled by. And in that 5-year period, we've started fully funded STEM scholarship that's put young people through school, and all they have to bring is their skills and capabilities. They don't have to pay a cent, and when they finish, they don't have to come work at Vodacom. I'm happy that some have, but ultimately, because we're saying we have to put something back into the skills pool that we know are going to be required for a better tomorrow, and there's no getting away from science, technology, engineering, and mathematics as drivers in an economy. And if you're going to build a modern economy, which is digital by default, you need those skills. We facilitated there being businesses for software engineers to be able to provide not only ourselves, but other companies in the country services. So I'm especially proud that we're catalyzing entrepreneurship and using our spend to foster there being businesses owned, in particular by young people. But I think more than anything, there are people whom we do not touch with either our products and services or with our social interventions, whom the most we can give them is inspiration and a sense of hope. And sometimes that's all it takes, because a hopeful person stands a better chance facing exactly the same objective elements as somebody without hope. The difference is the person with hope is going to find the means to overcome whatever challenges that they're facing. And so we're in the business of fostering there being hope by generally being there for some, but we encourage all.
Our conversation thus far has taken quite a positive trajectory, but I want to put a twist, and let's talk the hot stuff. Let's talk about challenges. Those that scathed you and those that you were able to overcome, what are those?
I arrived at the point where there was an attempted revocation of Vodacom Lesotho's license. The action, as the lawyers would say, was both arbitrary and capricious, and it caused the business harm. We lost market share during that time. We were depositioned and weren't able to make adjustments to our pricing to reflect the climate of the day. And it slowed us down, and it consumed a lot of energy. It hurt a lot of people, because what we forget is that when you talk about Vodacom, we're not just talking about a corporate entity, it's living beings who live and work in that organization, and we have to spare some regard for them. To find themselves being persecuted for no real reason, the details of which I think the country in the main knows, and for the fact that we couldn't ventilate those issues in the public domain and render it a defense by media, whereas parts of the trial, as it were, were being conducted in the media. We prefer to do things professionally, and you can imagine what it feels like to be on the inside, to know that the things that are being said are not true, but you can't defend yourself with the vigor that you otherwise might. Because we, being as big as we are, we have to be mindful that when we step here or there, there's a consequence. So we're always measured in our approach to doing things, because ultimately it's not about what's good for Vodacom alone. It's saying, how does this reflect on the bigger picture? And even inside of that, we had to focus on looking after our customers, which is always priority number one. Because we can be as brilliant as we want in everything that we do. If we don't have our customer support, there's absolutely nothing that we're going to come to. And it is that support which we use to make sure that literally hundreds of millions of maluti every year are put into our business so that we can continue to serve. And I think that's one of the key differences, which is anybody can invest in a business. Can you do so sustainably? To invest sustainably, we need regulatory certainty, and that we're not going to be targeted by a regulator. And thankfully, since that matter was brought to a rest. We work with a supportive regulator who challenges us to meet and exceed our responsibilities, and who also partners us to be able to execute on some of them.
Nice.
We've connected rural communities where the economics are ruinous. But we have a model for how we do that, which is we use the areas where we make money, pool money together, and we build towers in areas where there would be no connectivity. If it was strictly subject to the logic of a business case, the aggregation benefit that our business brings allows us, together with the competitor for that matter,
Nice.
to be able to roll out infrastructure through the USF program.
So a healthy ecosystem, essentially.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that we're able to come through that. But it was a very, very frustrating period.
can imagine.
You want to take innovations to
Yeah.
market and you can't
Yeah.
get them through. And you have people who are working on those things. You have needs that you can see, but you can't respond to them. At a human level, it takes a special kind of human being to be indifferent to need. When you can see it and you have the ability to do something and you can't, it is especially frustrating at a human level. Forget the business stuff. Yes, it costs money, but that's another dimension.
My goodness. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can be part of the conversation by heading over to our Facebook page at Mohale FM. I know, we haven't done Mohale, and you can join us at Mohale FM.
I love this station's name. I feel affirmed.
Right?
You are home.
You are affirmed. You are recognized.
Like Americans come to Africa and they're like, we are home. This is the motherland. This is your home.
This
sir."
is your home
Yeah.
as well. So just to piggyback on the question that she asked about challenges, I'm interested in knowing the principles and the values that guided you in your career, especially during these challenging times that you just mentioned to us.
Yeah.
The convergence is hard work. So in my entire career, I was clear that for the things I want, I have to work harder than the
Most.
people who may also want them, because there's competition in life. And for me, at the intersection of preparedness and opportunity, there's success. So my job, I felt then, was to say that I have to prepare myself for the opportunities that I want to enjoy. And thus, especially so in the early stages of life, when some people were having a better time in life than I was, I figured in my youth I can work hard, I can work and study. And those things for me translated well into what we do in the workplace, which is the harder you work, the more successful you are. And so that's where those things for me converged.
Yeah.
And I found, and I've been fortunate to find a team of people who, when I said, I gave them the example of when India turned 60 years old. There's a clip that talks about the two Indias, and it speaks about one that's doubts and boycotts and the one that buys out global companies. And I said, we have to choose which Vodacom we want to be. We can either be one that complains about being targeted and say, woe is me, or we can be a Vodacom that fights to make the changes that we want to make and to champion the cause of better serving our customers. And my colleagues listened, and we've become a more successful business. Testimony to which is that our financial performance through the period has improved, even inside a time when our economy has been facing difficulties.
Yeah.
Inside of that time, we've been able to, because the scholarship program that I'm describing, we've done in the last 5 years, which haven't been for all of those years. And we've been able to do it inside of that environment. We have colleagues who've improved themselves. They have PhDs and all manner of things.
Yeah.
All of that isn't done by the corporation. It's done by them. By those people investing in themselves and us supporting where we're able to. We get better talent. That talent gets opportunities, not only inside of Vodacom Lesotho, but into the wider Vodacom system. We have colleagues who've worked in Ethiopia, Mozambique, Kenya, you name it, DRC. So that mobility is facilitated by people working hard. So the constant between us and for me as a set of values, you have to put in the hard yards if you want the benefits. Thankfully, for me, that also converges with a company that is prepared to and demands of people to be hard workers, but also rewards the hard work by recognizing people. We aren't able to recognize people as much as we would want to. So, for example, we have finite space in terms of the number of people we employ on a full-time basis. So we can't promote every single person, but I can put hand on heart to say, I believe that every single person who's been through that organization is better off. I believe all our partners with whom we roll out our network and other services are better off for having worked with Vodacom, and they've been able to grow their businesses. And some of them have really, really impressive businesses of scale. And they've also gone beyond being dependent on Vodacom alone, because it would have been easy to say that we're doing well as a supplier to Vodacom. That's it. They've gone on to do many more things. And the happy outcome of that is, as we do other things which beyond the obvious, they can not only just be suppliers, but they can be partners in delivering some of those services.
2026, apparently or similarly, education is getting out of the stamp that we had put on it. People are finding a manner of things to survive and generate some income. I mean, social media now, we've got influencers, and they're dropping out of school now, and they're making quite a bit of coin, really, let's be honest.
I don't know about the dropping out of school part.
Yeah.
I'm fine with the sense of entrepreneurship and creating opportunity for themselves. My invitation, and this isn't something I speak to academically, something I've done myself, to say that it's school and work.
Okay.
And in this way, you're able to find an application for the skill sets that you're growing and to differentiate and evolve. But if you just say that I'm fine, how long can being an influencer last for? Right? If you're constantly reinventing yourself and learning new things, you end up in different spaces.
Yeah, so you're advocating for education still.
Oh, absolutely. Look at the Trevor Noah of yesteryear.
Yeah.
Look at what his material was as a comedian, and look at the issues he's able to comfortably engage relating to economics, politics, and all manner of global dynamics. Why? He's a master at reinvention. He brings it to his core craft. So if you say that I'm an influencer and that's what I do, the subject matter and content that you bring to that is only going to continuously be relevant and be enriched if you're on an ongoing, lifelong learning path.
Yeah, which I believe in. Don't get me wrong, okay? So, Vodacom Lesotho, what opportunities do you have for youth in the country that they can heed? We are in an unemployment surge right now, and people are looking all over the place for an opportunity, or at least to put a foot in something, that might help. What do you have for youth in the country?
Well, firstly, we employ a lot of youth.
Yeah.
If you look at a number of our engineers and technology people, you look at all sorts, we're a youthful company. So demographically, some of us are outliers in terms of the composition of our workforce. But perhaps if you'll allow me, I'll share some of our priorities so that young people can assess for themselves where they may be able to play a role. The GSM or mobile connectivity business remains a core component. We want to maintain our leadership there. We want to continue to accelerate financial services. If you think of the number of people who might otherwise be financially excluded if it went from Pesa, we want to continue to deepen that so that we bring more things to market. People are now able to borrow small chunks, for example, from ourselves who would otherwise have had no access to credit. And some of those people are business people, which means over time they can grow their businesses and they can come out of just the mobile lending space, which we do with our partners because we're not a lender ourselves, and graduate to being able to be supported by banks as their businesses grow and the banks can understand them better. We want to continue to accelerate both fixed and digital connectivity. The digital bits, fiber, and those things are the more fixed components because we need to connect homes. We can't connect everything via air. In some instances, we need fiber and other enablers. We want to continue to accelerate. So if you're a young person and you say, I'm interested in what's happening in the telecom space, study what's happening with fiber, understand where alternative technologies such as satellite, which has now come onto the scene, fits into the equation. Because tomorrow, we're not always going to deliver via the capabilities we have. They're going to change. So I would encourage young people to understand that. We want to continuously improve our relationships with government and our regulators so that we move in sync and we don't consume energy fighting. We direct our energies towards executing. Part of which is about looking at what we're going to do to enable the digitization of agriculture. We have to find a way to get the information that farmers need to them in real time so that they can make decisions about what to plant, when to plant, and when they have to be able to study what they've planted to see how it's responding and to measure their inputs. With the technology we have today now and But in parallel, we need the agricultural scientists and others too. So if people aren't studying those disciplines, if you're a living being such as we are, you have to eat, you have to do. And if it is a country that can't feed itself, if we're not paying attention to that, danger.
Yeah.
If you are, opportunity. We want to maintain our technology excellence. We've done 2G, 3G, 4 and 5G, and whatever the next G is that comes along, we're going to do that. So we need people who are focused on understanding how has that trajectory changed over time. We need accountants who can understand all of this, because we invest money not in the millions, but in the hundreds of millions. We have to be able to crunch that information to look at, to be able to make informed investment decisions. And when you have, to be able to account for, okay, we've taken a couple of 100 million of our shareholder money, we've done things with it. With what consequence? What are the next things that we should be doing? What are the things we need to stop? What are the things we need to start? And finally, the people component. That is absolutely the best people doing the best things. But we need people who are schooled in, people don't appreciate how important a discipline HR is. Because we can buy all the fancy computers we want, we can build all the best networks. If we don't have the right people with the right skills and they don't feel cared for, that is a skill. That is a set of competencies.
True, absolutely true.
So all of those things taken together are important. So to our young people, I'd say, understand, yes, the economy is small and it's tight. But to the extent that there are pockets that are functioning well, financial services, we were doing a bit of in the textile environment. Now that we've had to break the dependency on being able to export to the US, we still need clothes.
True.
Where is the sense that says, I've seen Joachim and a number of other people who have developed a local sense of style. Where is that? The bulk of what we wear day to day is neither made in Lesotho, it's not made by if in some instances when it is, and it certainly pays no attention to the sensibilities that says, who are these people? How else are you going to reflect and reinterpret the culture so that it means relevant? We shouldn't just be carbon copies of what everybody elsewhere in the world wears. You go to other parts of the world without being stuck in the past, so to speak. You have a sense that you're in that place. What are those flavors? If people come to visit Lesotho, which we need to do more and more in tourism, one, we're not doing a good enough job in packaging ourselves. The digital environment in which we now live allows us to share content. But if I were to go to any one of the places around the country as a tourist, what am I going to leave with? That's an opportunity. It's an opportunity to not just sell and make money, but it's an opportunity to export the culture.
True, So
to our young people, I want to urge that I know it's challenging, but there are not going to be enough jobs that can be provided for everyone. What are the things where young people feel that they can create? And we have a number of young artists. Bosanere, Stana, Vodacom over the years. And they've done brilliantly. But Vodacom didn't make those artists. They made themselves. They came and they were supported and given better platforms to advance their visions. But it started with them. We have Bomelobonta through whom Ralebitso Bongamti, but Bomamti Lebonabading. So has a Bongamti fair. But those people are running businesses, real life businesses. Who's given them some of the tools that they might need to grow their business? Do we think of them as customers? Who's doing the aggregation for the hawkers who sell things? Are we going to say that they must solve it for themselves? We are starting to solve the problem by giving them access to funding, which allows them to buy stock. So short of saying that we are unemployed, there's a shortage of opportunity as young people, where are the structured interventions that say, this is how we want to be helped? Because heaven knows, helping those young people has to be an urgency, and the government has declared a crisis.
It has.
So having declared that crisis, what are all of us doing differently to facilitate the solving of that crisis?
A lot to ponder on.
Right. So, So,
thank you.
I killed it.
Okay, so it's often said that it's lonely at the top. Leadership is often deemed as a very lonely place.
Thank you for that one.
So, as somebody in the hot seat, somebody who's at the helm of a very, very big corporation in Lesotho, who or what have been the most, let me rather phrase it this way, what are the people that have grounded you the most when you were going through a difficult time, be it family, friends, colleagues, your peers, and also
mentors,
what's the best, mentors,
Yeah.
and what's the best advice that you've received?
Oh, I've been fortunate in this regard. Firstly, to have the good sense to seek such counsel, because if you're not looking for it, you'll have people around you who are prepared to help you and provide sponsorship and support. But they'll work as hard as you work on you. And some of that counsel has come first and foremost from inside my family, my mom and dad, or my late dad now, and my siblings, and my wider family and network of friends. We don't just sit around and chew the fat, as the Americans say. We talk about things. Yes, we laugh, we live. But inside of that, I can bring my business challenges to say that, okay, we're thinking of doing 1, 2, and 3, and somebody will share a thought. I have met and remain great friends with business legends like Peter Wundler, Happy Njingela, Dima Besarengan, who started South Africa's first black-owned agency. They were in comfortable, cushy jobs, but they said we need to start our own thing. So as I went into my entrepreneurial phase, I had that network and nexus to tap into. I had the experience of being a young man hawking fruits and vegetables with my brother. So I didn't go to business school to learn what a profit is. My father taught us that.
Wow.
I don't just talk about growing things. I've had the experience of planting a tree, seeing it grow. And to this day, though I don't like being dirty, I'm an avid gardener. So for the moment I'm there, It's weird. It's the only time I don't wear, people expected they'd find me floating around the garden in gloves. I actually don't, because I like feeling the soil. And you feel disconnected when you don't. It messes up the nails, but you can sort out the nails later. So those kinds of people, and in Lesotho specifically, it's been wonderful to have the support and counsel of when I get stuck and I want to give up. His Majesty's been absolutely awesome in terms of availing himself to listen, not just to challenge, to say you should be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'm especially grateful for that care. There was a picture of Ndadete Mohale and I playing golf the other day. It's wonderful to be able to, because this position gives me access.
Yeah.
But the access without bringing something to the table and being prepared to be counseled. Because you shouldn't just bring people your problems and challenges. When they talk to you and give you advice, you have to be willing to take that on and execute. Because the only way to get through difficulties, I have found, is to do something. But before you do something, if you're unsure, ask for help. And again, as I've said, I've been fortunate. I've had amazing board members. When he was still our board member, our chairman, then the Ralebitso. So this Khamitsi Consortium also gives me huge access to a range of experienced people in any discipline. And the board of Khamitsi over the years has been useful in accessing that. I also work, as you know, in the context of Vodacom Lesotho being part of Vodacom Group.
Yes.
You have literally thousands of people on any given day whom I can call in goodness knows how many countries. And they actually did a course for us as CEOs of different businesses in the Vodafone Group, which was uniquely focused on us as CEOs and our particular journeys to help us become better leaders. Gifts like that don't come every day, and I took it with both hands. And part of that is just about being a more reflective person and taking the time, which also helped deal with your question about the loneliness at the top. Because there we can talk about our frustrations. Because as a CEO of a business, nobody wakes up every morning and asks you, hey, how are you doing? Are you okay? Yes, there are people who will, but they'll only do so if you're available to be engaged. But this particular course, as I said, also helped us in a structured manner to work through and to accept some of the lonelinesses that come. Because there'll be decisions when all is said and done, do you go left or right? Everybody will have given you their inputs. People will have listened to you, but you have to make the call. And in that moment, there's just you. But you can't be fragile and lonely and frustrated through it. You have to be purposeful and have intent about where you want to go and why, and clarity.
Yeah, yeah, you've got quite a beefy acumen in that. Oh, my goodness. Have you ever dealt with imposter syndrome? I find that conversations I've had with most of my peers who are in high positions in corporates, they speak about it quite a bit. Is it something that you had to deal with in your journey?
It's a real syndrome, but I suppose because my view has always been I prepare before, I'll be honest, I haven't felt much of an imposter. There are people who've tried to make me feel like one. But if you're prepared and you know your stuff, you will stand up for yourself and stand up for your truth. But for those people who've experienced it, my counsel would be and still remains, if you're feeling that way, channel your energy towards understanding the subject matter. There's a phrase that a former business partner of mine, Graham Warsop, used to share. It said, "Rem tene verba sequente." Grasp the subject and the words will follow. If you do that, you will always know your words and you're on top of your game. And all you're left to navigate with is how to be integrative in your approach. And if there's somebody who seeks to treat you like an imposter, find them, go sit with them, mano a mano, and have the conversation to say, okay, why are you trying to, what is it that you're looking for? And if you can't help that person through the acceptance process and to them respecting your right to be there, don't you go shrinking away. It's nobody's place to decide where you can and can't go in life. It's only your place to decide.
I can't believe this conversation is coming to an end. I just
My
checked
goodness.
the time and it's 9 minutes away.
Already? No.
No, they say time
I
flies
haven't
when you
even
have it
gotten a
fun.
chance to tell people about all the wonderful things which are coming. Well, maybe then we can just say, look out. Because on the financial services side in particular, there is something that's coming.
Okay.
We're finally, after a lot of back and forth, because it's a new space for us, we should be in market thanks to the regulator approving that. There are tons of things which we're doing and will continue to do to celebrate our birthday. The benefit of being 30 is that you can take the whole year celebrating because you're 30 for the whole year.
Yeah, true.
So I hope people will look out for that. And already our customers have gotten special offers so that it's not a celebration if you're celebrating alone.
Amen.
Lady, your chair.
Yes,
Namba,
please.
please. Namba.
Yes, please.
I think I'm piggybacking on what you just said right now. As my last question to you, Dr. Mohale, I'm looking for a real answer, not a corporate tagline.
I don't have corporate answers.
Great, that's even better. I want to know, Dr. Mohale, the man sitting in that chair today, what does connecting Basotho to a better future mean to you?
Connecting Basotho to a better future for me means when you wake up tomorrow, you're better off than you were yesterday. What does this entail, and where are the areas where I still hope we're going to get to? You'll famously know, and I think I've spoken to it briefly, to say that we're a food insecure country. Part of which isn't to do with the fact that people can't grow food. We can't connect the people who grow the food with the people who need to buy the food. So a dream of mine, which we're actively working on, we already have the ability for people to pay one another across geographies. So each time I'm in traffic and we're being harassed, I'm giving you a living example of, for me, what that better future looks like and where I think, and I'm being harassed by a 4+1. I always think, my goodness, if only this person were delivering those cabbages that I saw, which need to get to market. I'd love for us to create virtual and physical marketplaces throughout the country where people can bring their wares. We have a demand problem before we have a supply problem, because the suppliers, in some instances, farmers in particular, plant themselves to ruin because we can't connect them with the buyers. And I sometimes hear, quote unquote, borders being closed. That nonsense has to stop. Let's facilitate easier access to people who are selling things here. The local pricing will solve for that. That pricing stops making sense to go beyond rather than buying internally. That for me would be a living, tangible example of how a better future can be achieved. In education, we give schools, teachers and young people alike access to learning tools. that is a better future because they're not only limited to the content that they have immediately in their school environment they can plug in. We have courses where Tech Start, which people can go onto our website, where thousands of Basotho with AWS can be trained for free. We're not oversubscribed. Across the Vodacom group, we have 1 million spaces. Nobody said 500,000 of those can't be taken by Banawa Basotho. But we have to take the initiative to go and look so that we can be connected to a better digital future, because this digital stuff is not going away. But it's an enabler if only we learn to play with it better.
How much time do we have? 5 minutes. All right. What do you want to say to Mohale here listening, Basotho at large? Something for you to leave them with?
Ho to yam ra o tlole sepolo. Ha re tlwele mo koma re bona hona re tshebetsa jwang le Basotho re itshebeletse hape re tshetsaneng. Ntwene hore we are laying waste to the fine example that Madam Shweshwe gave us, which was to take an amalgam of different peoples and give us one identity. Ntwene hore Basotho ha ba tsebo ho tshwarana ka matsoho e bohloko. Mme hlabisa dihlong ha o lo bane re a bua re khotso pula nala fela ha re na khotso. Ntwene ya ho hlekefatsa batho ba bo mme le bana e tlameha ho fela. How ke so e bone in our culture mo twing monna Mosotho o etsa jeno wa tla basadi le bana ha se monna ntwe le lona bo mme le ke le bonang hore le ska kgetha batho ba le hlekefatsa motho a tla le ke fela bua le khaitsedi tsa lona le ba bang ronto ba ska ba le ka ntwe ha ke batle to incite violence, but it must be clear to say that you touch me at your peril, and if you touch me once I won't be around tomorrow. So re tshwaraneng hantle re le batho re sebedisane mmoho. It's a malape mona, the families that are successful ke malapa a tsebang ho sebedisana mmoho.
True.
Le ho tshehetsa. If we can save with the party, with ntwetsena kaofela, we can save to start businesses and de-risk one another.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And we're done.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for coming through to Mohale FM. And hopefully this is not the last conversation we're having with you.
Yeah, for sure.
There'll be more conversations. There you have it.
It's done.
There you have it.
Yeah.
We have it on record. Thank you so much, Mohale.